Hello, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have two very special things, one of which is technical issues. Michelle and I have spent the last half hour desperately trying to make video talk to each other with limited success. So we're just going to crack on and see what happens. So if Michelle or I disappear in or out, then apologies for that. The most important thing, though, is that we have Michelle Part from Harman Technology, the business behind Ilford and Kempmere. So Michelle, first of all, welcome to the channel, and sorry about all the video stuff.
Well, it kept it interesting this morning, didn't it? And thank you for having me on.
So it's wonderful to see you again. We spent a fair bit of time at the weekend at the photography show. And I'm really excited to have you as one of the guest judges because we've had quite a few Ilford and Kempmere films recently in the Wonderbox. And I know you are obviously a connoisseur, both personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I said to you, pick any photos, they don't have to be ones you make. And it turns out you picked a lot of ones you make.
Yeah, I think you get drawn to certain images, don't you? And yeah. So there were definitely some in there. We'll see what else is in there. I don't know if they were all our films.
So yes, welcome to everyone. If this is your first time watching along with the competition, then what we like to do is we bring a guest judge in. They bring their own opinions, perspectives on what makes a good photography, what they enjoy. So I've given Michelle zero guidance on what makes a winning Wonderbox competition. It's just what speaks to her. So she's got a few special mentions and then a grand winner. We also obviously always have a lucky dip winner that's a randomly picked entry, so that no matter what happens, no matter what the guest judge thinks of your photography, you always have the chance to win some prizes. And of course, this month the prizes will be Ilford based. You'll be shocked to hear. But before we get into that, Michelle, yes, we were at the photography show. How did you find it? How was the Analogue spotlight for you?
Do you know, it was brilliant. Obviously, I've done a few shows over the years, but it was so different. I think having all of the little, from the small makers, manufacturers, and to the labs, to having everyone grouped in that area, I think made for a real community space, and with the talks that went on, and it was just a really nice feeling, the whole show. And I think everyone's met people they've never met before, perhaps they've played off different people. And even after the show every night, we'd go and have a drink, we'd have a chat, and there was a bit of banter, but it was all friendly mostly. So, but yeah, it was just a really, really nice atmosphere, and the people that came were interesting. I mean, they always are. You get some characters that turn up year on year, and it's really nice to see them again. But I think this year, more than any other, there were probably more photographers. And by that I mean people that were actually passionate about it. They didn't just do it because they had to do it at college, they had to do it in uni, they did it for a job. They were actually really passionate about what they did, and they made really interesting conversations. So yeah, I loved it. I'm still suffering now, but I loved it.
You guys did the 4 full days, evening.
We did setup too.
Setup, breakdown. You did a talk?
Yeah, I did a talk, and yeah, that was terrifying. But there's not a nicer feeling than someone coming up to you after and saying, "Oh, that was really interesting. Can I get the film that you shot this on?" And you're like,
yeah.
It makes you feel really good, and being able to give people advice and tell them about your experience, even though I'm not a professional photographer, is really, it was really, really good fun. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully more of that next year.
Oh no, definitely. We're already planning Analogue Spotlight round 2.
We've seen the emails.
Exactly. No, I think absolutely. I echo that. It was definitely smaller in terms of attendance and show people than originally intended, obviously, because no one could fly in, companies or attendees. Lots of people stayed away anyway because it's the first big event. So hopefully, given another 12 months of things going in the right direction. But what we managed to do is, test the theory. If you put all these analog businesses together, will there be a little will they get a community feel around it? And I definitely felt that.
Yeah, it was such a good. I mean, like you say, hopefully next year will be even bigger, especially that Analogue area. But I think I mean, there was what, 2, 4, 6, so about 20 businesses around. Just thinking just off the top of my head. But yeah, it wasn't, even though some of them were almost like competitors, it didn't matter. It really didn't. So yeah, really good roll on next year.
Oh, for sure. And I thought as well, the balance of speakers I thought was really nice as well. There was like, people from manufacturers, people who shot, people who did darkroom stuff, people who were talking about personal projects or education. Dan Rubin's one at the end was fascinating, like how he is basically a professional photographer, including filming projects, and how he manages that and all that kind of stuff. So no, that's brilliant. And then you guys had a few little product announcements as well.
Just a few. We like to save these things for the shows, yeah.
Yeah. Before we dive into what they are, how many people then commented afterwards being like, totally disappointed it's not colour film?
Oh, loads. Oh, yeah, we always get those, yeah. Well, the one we get every time without fail, and there's a few ringleaders out there who know who they are, who do it each time, is I thought it was Pan F sheet film. Without fail, honestly, every time. You never know, one day, maybe. We've got our list of new products and things we're looking at. I'm not joking when I say the things we'd like to do probably runs to 5 pages. The things we're looking at seriously, there's a good few. There's 10 that we need to round down a bit further over the next couple of months. So, we're always trying to, and talking to people at the shows and that is really invaluable. I mean, we're not going to bring out colour. It's not going to happen. There's not going to be an Ilford Photo colour film. But
that's all right.
Stuff,
I'll make this YouTube cover like proper clickbait with just like the Ilford logo and colour ? And if you've clicked on that and followed this along, yes, it was clickbait and no. And I mean, that is the thing that I love, like talking to you throughout the year, because you'd phone me a couple of months ago being like, I've just got some thoughts, I just want top secret, just let me know. And sure enough, there it was in real life. So your pet project, your little baby that got like an incredible amount of positive feedback.
I mean, the pop-up darkroom is something we've had and we've bandied about a bit, and we know there's others out there, but we wanted something. We get told again and again, and we did the surveys a couple of years ago, and we get told, I'd love to darkroom print, but either I can't get a community darkroom, there's not one near me, I don't have space, I don't have, there must be something we can do on this. And we've been talking to manufacturers for a while. We've had a good selection of items that we could try using, from fishing tents to hydroponics and all sorts, and we've tested it, we've sent back and we've gone, no, this doesn't work. But I'm really, really pleased with it, and the response has been amazing. I mean, we won the one of the Best in Show awards for it as well, which was like, So and even afterwards now, you Google pop-up darkroom and it's crazy.
I know, and I put it on social media, obviously, as soon as you allowed me, and immediately all the comments seem to centre around that's just what I needed, or that's just what they tag someone. This is the kind of thing that will help you. Yeah. So you can see it immediately fell into a groundswell of actual.
It is crazy.
People could see where it would fit into their lives, and then the other thing I think was people would then sort of sidle up to me and be like, "Oh, how much is it going to be?" And I think generally in their head they were thinking £1,000 or something, because when we then said, I know it's not finalised, but the 250 region plus or minus, people's jaws would drop, because the accessibility that allows them to then, because it's not just that you can have it in your home, like it packs down and you can take it to uni and bring it.
Yeah, I mean it sits. Well, mine's in my cupboard with my Hoover at the minute. It's not small, so it's a really small bag. You can take it anywhere. It's less than 10. I think the official weight's 8.2 kilos or something. But so it's light. It's easy to put up and down, and you can do it on your own. It's you don't need that 3 people to install it, and But what I found really interesting is straight away there were people coming up and saying, well, can you do this because I'd like to use it for a wet plate, or can you do this because I'd like to use it in a college or a university, but I could do with a double width. So there's always that option to expand it in future and look at other iterations or.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for us the important thing was getting that light tightness. Without that, it's not going to work. So,
light tight without being airtight to suffocate people.
yeah, well, that's it. Because once you've got, because obviously there's a fan inlet and there's an extraction vent at the top, and they're on like drawstrings. So it's making sure that they don't let the light in, and obviously you've got seams and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, the people we've worked with on it, I think they think we're slightly crazy because I'm not sure they still understand what fully we're doing with it. Like, no, you can't stitch there. You can't leave holes where the stitching is. That stops the light.
Yeah.
Like, but so we're like, no, you need to tape all of this. But yeah, it has. I mean, we've seen pre-orders come in. We've seen loads of interest from around the world. I mean, I'm not convinced I'd like to use it under a red hot sun somewhere, but I suppose once you've got your fan that plugged in, it might not be too bad. But
well, this is because I immediately thought of it as great. So what I'd do is I'd put it in a room that's already has the lights off probably. But people are like, great, I can do this outside, and I'm like, oh. Yeah,
you could. I wouldn't do it on a windy day, and I think I'd attach guy ropes as well. But I mean, I did set it up when I was testing it. I did set it up in the garden. It was a hot day, and it was really hot inside it, but I didn't have the fan blowing in or anything. To be honest, I was hiding from my kids, if I'm totally honest.
Exactly. You went for a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't need to test it. I was just like, right, Mum's got to go outside and you need to stay in the house.
Exactly. Very important work. No, that's brilliant. And then for folks who are watching who haven't seen this, then definitely there's loads of places for more information. You guys are going through the whole very boring for outside people, but very interesting for people who love IT systems. Big changeover in the warehouse and the factory. When do you think it will start to appear on retailer shelves?
Hopefully, fingers crossed, all going well. We should be back up and running fully next week. So I'm expecting stock towards the end of October. So shortly after that. So I mean, I'm hoping to get it on our website so people can have a look at it, and they can find a bit more information within the next 7 to 10 days. But it'll be there for information along with the other products and that. But yeah, I mean, hopefully towards the end of October, ready for Christmas.
Well, I mean, this is it. So I think the other thing that people are saying is like, oh, this is amazing, and I think people are used to seeing announcements and then it being like, yeah, coming next year. Whereas this is like, nope, we know
our lessons.
Global supply chains are not 100% robust at the moment, so things may change. But yeah, I think it suddenly made it onto a lot of people's Christmas lists within seconds.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yes. I think I'd be in a lot of trouble if it hasn't, but it seems to have done so. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'd imagine the first lot we have coming in are going to fly out fairly quickly. So yeah, after that, hopefully it'll be more regular.
Yeah, as you say, like there's the option of when people get it in the real world, they'll have a play, they'll ask for more, and I'm sure there'll be add-ons or.
And I think we'll get, like you say, we'll get feedback as well. Well, could you do this maybe? And we can look at all of those, because this is like it's the first make of it. We don't know. We know what we like. We've tried it. Our tech guys have tried it.
Yeah.
You know, somebody might have a really cool idea, and we're like, oh, we're quite open to suggestions and things. So. Yeah. Yeah. Exciting.
No, that's super exciting. And then what else? There were 3 announcements.
Yeah, so the one that kind of links into the pop-up darkroom was, you know, in the past we did the Ilford Photo film processing kit, which had everything in, like, develop your first film. Yeah. This is for the darkroom, so very similar. So it's got everything in to make your first prints from your trays, your cylinders, your chemistry. It's got some paper, your mixers. So that should hopefully be coming again. I'd imagine October, November. Randomly, the biggest issue we've had at the moment is there's a cardboard shortage. So,
Oh, don't tell. Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, we did have a mock-up of it at the show, but it was on like a brown printed cardboard, but the original, you know, and they'll be sold through dealers, distributors. Aston will sell them direct throughout in the UK. So I can't remember what the price is. Off the top of my head, I seem to think they're about 120, 125.
Yeah, that's yeah. So we'll get them from Patterson. Yeah, so that's the area.
Yeah.
I mean, this I remember this time last year, it was really hard to keep the Darkroom starter kits in. Well, the developing starter kits in stock because again, for Christmas, either presents for friends or I think people presents for themselves. Especially after a year of lockdown, it felt like the natural next.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's like you said before. It was really interesting when we talked to people at the show, and they were like, "Oh, I started developing my own film in lockdown, and now I'm ready. You know, I've used maybe the Simplicity, or I've used this, or we found that a lot of places had put their own before those were available, put their own kits together, or had bundled it with a changing bag, or something like that. But yeah, and they were like, well, I've been using this, and now I'm developing more films. So what can I do? What do I need? What chemistry do I need? And it was so good seeing these people that they'd done it, and they'd not just stopped now lockdown had finished. They were carrying on, and if anything, they were shooting more because they'd learned that skill. So yeah, these will be.
You know, we always, well, every film photographer, I think, when they get together and talk about it, it's the magic of seeing your images in real life, and nothing is touched apart from light and chemicals. That it's very hard if that floats your boat the first time, it's going to float your boat the 20th, 2000th time. Yeah, it's been quite funny actually when you said about the Darkroom, because we've been building the Darkroom here in preparation for lab, and some of the chats again you're having with the workmen, and they're like, yeah, it's dark. And you're like, no, but is it dark? Like, yeah, it's dark. And you're like, you go in and then you're like, nope, there's that tiny little corner that doesn't have that, and they're like, oh, you mean that kind of dark?
Oh, it just, I don't think, I mean, I remember visiting a college a few years ago. I can't remember which one it was. They probably wouldn't like me to mention it if I could. And the photo technician had come back after in September really excited because they'd got a custom built darkroom being made for them. And she'd gone down to it really, really excited to have a look. And they said, this is where it is. I walked to it and it had a window in the door. It was like, wow. And they put the window in because they're like, well, we don't want students using chemicals without us being able to see them. Yeah, it doesn't work. Like,
there's one important point missing there. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've heard that sort of story a few times. Or it'll be in a shared space, and they'd have moved the enlargers into a digital darkroom, so you have 3 Macs and 3 darkroom enlargers at the end of the room, and you're like,
problem solved.
Really doesn't work.
Well, we had these very efficient but silent extractor fans put in, but they have tiny red lights when they're on. And again, you think, well, red light at least is less, and you wouldn't notice it in any other world. But we're like, nope, mask over that. Anyway, lots of good fun. And then you've also got a little calendar.
Oh, our gift calendar. It's a 35mm gift calendar. Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's 12 openings on it, so it's like 12 days of film, and it's got 11 35mm films. Probably not that hard to guess what they are. Have a look at our range and how many 35mm films we do overall.
There are 11.
Yeah, but it's got some other goodies in there too, and it's a bit of fun, and I think it pushes people out of the comfort zone as well, because so many people are like, oh, I always shoot FP4, I always shoot HP5, and they stick, or I always shoot plus films or Delta, it makes them try something different. So, I mean, they've been really well received as well. We've had some nice pre-orders from distributors, dealers, and that. But I mean, this year there's only going to be a limited quantity.
Yeah.
In hindsight, we should have ordered more. Yeah, you never know.
That's a lovely problem to have.
Yeah, well, if I'd have been left, considering what goes in them, if I'd have been left with a load, I wouldn't have been popular. So, do you know, I'd rather sell them out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And as you say, it's the first year. There's every year there'll be different fun and games to be had with it, isn't it?
Well, that's it. We've had people saying, "Has it got this in?" Well, we're not telling you. It's, you know, has it got this in? Well,
you can't do that. That's
I mean, in fact, it says on the back it's got 11 films plus other things. Kind of gives some of it away, and we're hoping that people will share the, you know, not just the images on the films, but as they open it and things like that. So we had quite a few people going, "Oh, I'm just going to message my mum, my dad, whoever, and tell them I want one of these." So.
I've mentioned it several times to my wife as like, "Oh, I saw this really interesting thing at work."
It's, can you not expense it?
That's true, actually. Yeah, exactly. My sample budget might take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was the product number 3, and again, it was really popular. People were excited. You know, they were adding it to the Christmas list. That was the 3 new ones for this year. So for now, I don't think we'll get for now. I'm not convinced we'll get anything else out before the end of the year with everything else going on, but we'll see.
I'd be really impressed, and also you've made me excited that we thought there might be. No, that's wonderful, and I think what was also really, really nice was, you're right, you guys won a Best in Show. But when's the last time an Analogue company
the digital
product? Yeah, exactly. At the photography show, it'll have been a while back, and that goes back into that whole, you know, the spotlight and people being there and it being worthwhile. Because also what you guys are bringing is, you know, that's 3 totally different products. That's something that's putting things together into a really meaningful like pack, the Darkroom pack. That's the pop-up Darkroom, which, yeah, as you say, there might be other things out there, but in terms of the construct and the price point and everything, just seems amazing.
It's entry level, isn't it? For us, it's an enabler.
Yeah.
It gives people that chance. And do you know, we're not going to make millions off this pop-up darkroom, but that's not what it's designed for us. It's to give people that opportunity to get into the darkroom, get printing. Because we want to see paper go the same way film's gone, and people to start printing more and more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like they have done with the film and the developing.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's just like we can now pick up film cameras from lots of places. This will allow that. And then third, you've got something that's just really fun, really seasonal, and just for people who would shoot 11 rolls of film anyway. But it's in a calendar with some goodies.
Perfect.
Why not? Brilliant. All right then. Well, let's get into the competition then. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And yes, for anyone who really likes the sound of any of those, then for sure we will be stocking it, as I'm sure lots of retailers around the world will be. If you have any more questions before necessarily all the products are released or shipping, then Michelle, either through Twitter, Instagram, or on the website, I'm sure we'll be able to answer any questions. But really, really exciting. Okay then, so the Wonderbox competition. So you've picked for us some special mentions. We've got the lucky dip winner and then the grand prize. So let's go through. Starting off, you've got a couple from the same photographer. So let's start with the aptly named Log on a Road. What drew you to this?
I really like images with texture. Texture always draws me, and the play between light and shadow, and I mean, black and white, obviously, I'm totally biased and I love black and white images. But this one, it ticks all the boxes for me. It's got the texture, it's got some really nice shadows. You can't see that. I'm looking on my screen now, I'm pointing to the underneath of the log. There's some really nice darker bits, and you've got the play on highlights. It's one I'd like to take into a darkroom and print, because I think with the right bit of dodging and burning, you could really pull out the detail in that log. But yeah, for me, it's definitely the texture and the detail that's in there that drew me to this one.
Well, the photographer, Bradley Clark, congratulations. Bradley says that in their mind, the picture wouldn't work if it wasn't black and white, because apparently the green on each side of the log was very, very bright, very vibrant, and they think it would have totally distracted. So one of the reasons they really liked this photo is that it has this subtle, interesting background, the texture coming through really, rather than what was probably a massive punch in the face of green. So there we go, a black and white fan as well. And which film do you think this is? Well, but which film?
Oh God, please let it be one of ours.
Yeah. 400, Kentmere.
Yeah. If I'd had to guess that one, looking at it, I would have guessed one of the Kentmere films. Some of the others are a bit tougher, and I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping they're all on ours. One, a couple I'm not sure of, but yeah, Kentmere would have been my guess for this one.
Yeah, and Bradley just says that really likes Kentmere 400 because of its versatility, good tonal range, medium contrast, and they use it as they pop it in a point and shoot as a backup camera wherever they go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I think it's a smart thing. Brilliant. Okay then. Well, we'll move on to the next one is also Bradley Clark. So
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't look at the names. I just looked at what drew me.
Yes.
This one, I liked everything about it. Again, I love the contrast in it. I'm fairly confident when I looked at this which film it was, and it's as well. But I like the lady in the foreground who's obviously looking at the camera, and the contrast between that and everyone in the background who's like totally oblivious that the photo is being taken. But yeah, I just think it's really, I like this sort of street. Although it's not really on the street, it's on the water, but I like, documentary. Yeah, there's obviously something going on, and again, there's loads of detail. There's some really deep blacks in the, I think it must be the engine bit, along with the whites. So it's all quite nicely balanced. Yeah,
this almost it almost feels like it's a very good street river photograph, because every person is doing a different pose. Every person is doing something interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like a painting. Like if you had to compose people, you would drop them in this kind of configuration.
And every time you go back, you notice something else about it, like the water bottles. There's a lot to look at, but it's not busy.
Yeah. And then you're right, there's that sort of the in-joke of one person noticing and looking straight back at you. Makes it very engaging. Okay, then, so guess which it is.
This is the only one that I'm 90%, so I'm probably totally and utterly wrong. I think this is XP2.
Yes! Yes.
This was the only one. It's just the tonal range, I think, and it's such a nice scan and everything as well. It's a film that when I shoot it, and it sounds really awful to say this, I'm always surprised how good the results are. And I know I don't know why, I never expect it. I forget how good it is.
Well, I think it's one of those, we talked about this when we put it in the Wonderbox, that it's known for its like quirk that you process it in colour, and therefore people, when that's what it's known for, it's not, therefore that's what people think of rather than quality or flexibility. But Bradley says here, great film to start with black and white. It's really because it's really difficult to get a bad shot, as it can be shot from 50 to 800 on the same roll, then you process. So yeah, it has the flexibility of a C41 film, but with black and white.
He's been reading our marketing spiel, hasn't he?
Hang on, is this Bradley?
Yeah, he works. No, he doesn't work.
Shell Parr Clark.
Otherwise known as.
But there we go. Yeah. So even though it might be known for its nuance of chemistry, actually the reality is it's a cracking emulsion under the bonnet with the benefit. Brilliant. Okay. Well, huge congratulations, Bradley. That's two fantastic photos that were the first ones to catch Michelle's eye. If we move on to Neil Seeger.
It's the depth of field caught my eye on this. The front with the hands and there's probably a really technical name for the glass, the globe. But I love how the focus is there and it draws your eye in, and then you've got you can still see the boy in the background, but his face is only in focus within the glass. The glass. I just think it's quite clever, well executed.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of glass ball photos in my life, and this is probably one of the more subtle and nuanced. Yeah, the eyes peeping through the fingers. It's really, really gorgeous. Okay, let's have a look. So Neil says this is the first roll on a new old camera.
Right, even more impressive then.
Exactly. He loves the way it captures his grandson. And which film do you think this one is? So this is one of yours again.
Where is it? Okay. This one's. What is this? Sorry, I'm sticking my head right into the camera, but I'm just looking at it on my screen.
Yeah.
I'd say it's one of the Plus films, but I'm not sure. It could be FP4, HP5.
It's HP5.
Oh, yeah, I think there's a bit of grain in there, and it's
No, spot on, HP5. So Neil says that HP5 is a superb, trustworthy workhorse of a film. It is like a hobnob biscuit.
Do you think I can steal that for our next?
Yes, definitely. It can't be broken, and we'll take all you want to throw at it. Now, I mean, hobnob biscuits can be broken.
They take some dunking though, don't they?
But well, maybe this is it. But I love the analogy that it is something that will work well in any situation. So yes, there we go. That's a series which matched the film to the biscuit type.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that.
Well, Sandeep on Twitter would love it.
Oh yeah, we would. Give me a biscuit. I don't know though. A hobnob's allowed. As long as we stick away from Jaffa cakes, we'd be fine, wouldn't we?
Exactly. That's probably safe. So huge congratulations. So if that is your first role back into film, Neil, then that is unbelievable. An absolutely gorgeous photo and really, really well executed. Okay, so Ryan Leroyd, and we did force you to put some colour photos in.
Well, I'll be honest, this one, I'm not a massive fan of colour. Some of them, but now and again something really catches my eye, and this one did. And I think, again, I've said about it before, I like contrast. And it's the play between the very dark beams across the ceiling and those bright, but they're still not overexposed, framed images on the wall behind her. I like the colours. I like they're quite muted. I don't know what film this one's on.
This one is Lomo 400.
Right, yeah, I do. I like the colour. I like the tonality of it, but I really like that contrast between, as you look up like above the skeleton and the one to the right of it, you can see all the details still in the beams, but they're quite dark compared to those really bright images.
I mean, I must say, Michelle, of all the colour photos that were submitted, this is probably one of the least colourful. No, this is the fun of bringing different people in. But I think you're absolutely right. It is. I suspect this photo would work very well in black and white because the colours add to it.
Yeah, they do, and it's not over the top. It's not. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. That's what I asked you to do. Okay, the next one. So well done, Ryan. Well done for getting a colour photo past work. Richard Alonso had a photo, and this one is black and white. You'll be shocked to hear, but it isn't an Ilford one.
Oh no!
But what
I get into trouble.
Exactly.
I have a bit of it's a bit of a standing joke in the office that I love, as well as texture shots. I like cars. So we also, my ideal shot would be like a tree trunk growing through an old car or something like that.
Oh yes,
So this, again, it's really well shot. I like the depth of field on it again. So you're right in focus on that dash. You can read those stickers on the left-hand side really clearly. Even to the specs at first, to be honest, I kind of drifted over it because I thought the neg had a lot of dust on it, and then I looked again and realised it was actually mess on the windscreen that you're picking up. So yeah, it's just, I can't say particularly what it is. Again, contrast, you've got the whites, you've got the darker areas, but it just drew my eye.
Yeah. So the so what Richard says, so it's shot on Lomography's Babylon 13.
Okay.
And I think what you can see there is, they're almost the glow, the slightly magical glow around the highlights. I really, really love. And then the out of focus shaping in the background just seems gorgeously soft. So Richard says this is an impressive and flexible film, to say that it's low ISO. He says that actually it took everything he threw at it in its stride, works with a great wide range of subjects.
So what speed is that for?
13.
Oh God, so it is really low.
Yeah.
Right, I just thought that.
No, and when I was talking about this film, when it was this sort of week's focus, I was talking about shooting that slow. You might be limited in what you can do. Like, think carefully, and clearly Richard embraced that challenge and actually shot a lot of different things and said it works pretty well. And then loved shooting close-up details with a shallow depth of field. So yeah, this is a wonderful example of using.
It must have been a really sunny day.
Yeah, well, this is also true. Yes.
So, yeah, but no, it is, and you're right. The highlights are really nice on it. Yeah,
there's another one actually, I think, that he submitted that was also on this film, also a car one, the Silver Lady. But the detail he's managed to get from the film is really, really impressive. So well done. And thank you as well for embracing, Richard. Thank you for embracing the challenge of one of the less usual films, but showing what can be achieved. That's fantastic work. Okay, and we move to Douglas Jarvis, and we're back into the world of your films. Michelle, you will be shocked to hear.
I'm
Liverpool Street.
Yeah, I mean, this one, it's a really good night shot. Plenty of contrast, plenty of grain. There's still some of the shadows, yes, it's lost a little bit of detail right at the top back, but to get the light in focus and all the detail below those hatches isn't an easy thing to do. So yeah, I was really, really impressed with this. I'm assuming it's one of our faster films, looking at the subject. And even when I zoomed in, the telephone box in the background, you can actually read the sign on it.
Yeah.
It's just, it really caught my eye. I like the contrast. I like the night. It's really sharp.
So exactly. Like, I could easily imagine trying to take this photo and losing all of that detail in the highlights. So this is perfectly exposed. So yes, it is HP5, but it is pushed.
Right. Okay. What have they gone up to? Have they gone to 8 or 16 or?
They said 1,000.
Okay, that's unusual.
Which is unusual, yes. So I don't know a camera for mine that can do that, but yes. So they've pushed it to 1,000. And Douglas has said really likes the contrasting grain when this film is pushed. It's a very versatile film, as we know, as we talked about. But yeah, for me, it's not just the versatility here, as you say. It's to hit this exposure, to hit this level of detail, is phenomenal. Because even the bright doesn't look blown out. The shadows are gorgeous. Again,
it's all focused. It's well. I mean, there is even. Sorry, I keep sticking my head. I'm probably really close. I don't think there's much in the sky there to actually pull out. But even there's obviously a glow on the left from another street light. All the cobbles are in focus. There's still plenty of texture even in the wooden pallet or bench at the front. So yes,
take this into a darkroom, Michelle. This is the one that I'm like, I'd love to get a print, especially that middle section with all the detail. That's
really nice, isn't it?
So much fun. So wonderful photo, Douglas. Congratulations. And then the final honourable mention before we go to the winners is De Zente with One Summer's Day at Benmore Gardens, also on HP5. And I want to say, before you critique or you comment on this, D10 is a beginner in film photography, and their one camera has a broken light meter.
Do you know though? I mean, that is, as you look at the shots. I mean, it's kind of more in a way technically the things that you look for, and especially I think if you're starting out, you look for leading lines. You look for that play and shadow and light, and this is like it draws you through with having the path where it is through the middle. It draws you through the image, but I think having that extra bit of interest to the person walking the two little dogs. It just stops it being. I think without that, it'd still be a nice shot, but I like that added detail in there. And I'm guessing it's HP5. Perfect for beginners. I mean, you can't go wrong. You've got loads and loads of detail again. And yeah, it was the texture in the trees as well as the leading lines on this that just brought me to it. There's so much texture in those trees, especially on the right hand side where the shadows are slightly darker.
Oh, it's stunning. I mean, so they said, this film plus using the Sunny 16 rule, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, really.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this is a confession, but I think I've said it a few times. I'm not always a fan of HP5. I don't personally shoot it as much or love it as much as the community does. And I think one of the reasons is because I'm a bit of a contrast junkie. And I prefer, and I often find HP5 almost gives me too much detail in everything, so it can be a bit flat. But this is brilliantly textured. The to go from the whites of the sky all the way through to the darks in the trees. There's so much in here.
There's a lot, isn't there? And it's one of those, in a dark room, it'd be really interesting to see what you could, just to maybe nudge those levels a bit, and just hold back a little bit on the trees, and just bring even deepen those shadows a little bit more. It'd be I think it'd be lovely to bring.
Yeah, there's one thing that I hope they don't mind, a small critique of. The one thing that I keep visually being drawn to, and I wish could just move a little bit, was I'd love the person to just be half an inch lower down. I'm finding that breaking the horizon line is a little off-putting. That might be a personal choice, and again, I'm not saying this because I know right photography, but I think for me, I know it's hard because if that's your height, that's it. But if you can get a bit higher or taking it half a second early, that might have made a difference. But yeah, in terms of composition, you've got the leading lines, you've got the repeating patterns, you've got wonderful contrast. That is a fantastic photo. So if this is one of your first roles, then I am very, very excited for the things that they will create in the future, because this is a unbelievable.
My first roles were not shared with anybody. To be honest, most of them still are now,
but exactly, and I can see as well that they've submitted several ones as well, including the Babylon. So they definitely thrown themselves into the what's the right word? The challenge and the attitude and the mentality of the Wonderbox is wonderful. So really, really well done. Lovely, lovely photo, and you made it into the special mentions. So before we go into then the Michelle's grand prize winner, we're going to pause and go through the lucky dip winner. So as I say, every month I let an algorithm, a random number generator, pick one of the submissions each month, so that regardless of whether the guest judge likes your type of photography or not, you have a chance of winning. And actually this has worked particularly well today, because
it's colour, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. The lucky dip winner is a colour photo, which, as you've noticed, Michelle is drawn to black and white, shall we say. And the winner this month is Heather Kidd. So congratulations, Heather, with her shot Wildflowers. So I know it didn't make it into your top, but the good thing is as well, every time I see a lucky dip winner, I love them. And this is brilliant. The texture, muted colours. Now Heather shot with the expired Fuji Superior. So this might even be then some of that muted palette coming through is because of the degradation of the colours over time. Heather said, never used expired film before, was concerned she wouldn't be able to find a use. However, what they decided to do, shoot it at box speed, see what would happen. And actually, she loves the way the grain structure works. It adds a very earthy look to the image. And I totally agree. This is a wonderful example of the subject matter matching the aesthetic of the emulsion. This is really gorgeous. Michelle, can you comment on colour photos, or are you just pure?
The Wildflowers, I do remember seeing that one.
Yeah, there's definitely some, versus fresh Superior, there's definitely a bit more grain than I would.
Yeah, quite muted, that one, I think.
The colours are definitely slightly more muted, but it works really, really well. And I think at this time of year in particular, it's very evocative of nature.
It is the sort of image, especially around here where we are, you could go out and you could shoot that very easily. Again, nice use of depth of field on that one as well, just to bring that foreground into focus.
Yeah, perfect. Okay then, which brings us to, drum roll please, the grand prize winner. So Michelle has gone through all the photos, loved a load of them as you've seen her talk through, but there's one that jumped out, and that was shot by Kenji Smith. So why did you love this photo in particular?
This one, it goes against everything I've said I like, really. But sometimes, and I find this when we're going through, when I'm looking through the Instagram, sometimes you come across a portrait, it's well shot, it's well focused. The skin, they've just used the right film for the right skin tones, and there's just so much detail in it, and you have to stop and look at it. And this did that for me. It's really well focused. I love all the detailing, and I like the pose. It's natural. It's not, even though I'm sure he knew he was getting this photo taken, there's obviously a relationship there with the photographer. There's no awkwardness. It's relaxed. It's, yeah, it just really, it'd make me stop if I was looking through our feed for images. This one would make me stop and look again. There's so much detail. The skin tones are rendering really beautifully in the bandana or cap, whatever it is under the hood. All the detail in there as well. I just like everything about it. Yeah.
That's very fair. And yeah, the focus, like, it's easy to look at these photos and think it's as simple as opening up aperture and nailing it, but you can see actually the right eye is perfectly in focus. Even by the edge of the left eye, it's dropping off. So the room for error is tiny, 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 but you've got the eye, you've got the bandana, you've got the interest there, and then everything just fades from that front and back. It's beautiful. So let's have a look. So Kenji says, top tip for portrait photography is talk to your subject. So definitely you can see that connection coming through. And the reason that they love this photo in particular is that they could see the honesty and the trust reflected back, which I think is a fantastic reason to love any photo, to get that kind of human connection. So huge congratulations, Kenji. Huge congratulations, Heather, and then everyone else who's been mentioned as well. So for the 2 winners, grand prize and lucky dip, you will have a little bundle of Ilford films on the way to you. I'll ping you beforehand to see if you have any preference for format or emulsions, but otherwise you'll get a little goodie bag, including some pins as well. Michelle, thank you so much for giving up your time. And I know as well you guys are in the middle of a massive, as I say, systems project, so it's hugely appreciated. As you look through all these, what's your overarching impression of having looked through the tens of photos that I sent you?
Do you know, I was just really impressed. I mean, even though colour isn't necessarily my thing, there's so many good images in there, and there's such a range of films. I mean, more by fluke than good judgment. You know, I've been drawn to the ones that are on ours, and obviously, yeah, black and white. I'm a massive fan of black and white, but it has. I'm not any black and white. It has to be well shot. It has to be, and I could, you know, if I was a big fan of colour, yeah, there's some really nice ones in there too. I mean, there's a couple that I thought almost looked magazine-y. There's just, I loved, what I really enjoyed is the variety.
Yeah, there's a beautiful lemon purple one as well of a tree that looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and there was a Helter Skelter one as well.
Let's do it again.
No, but there was, and they do draw my eye, but if I had to pick, I try and think, what would I print? What would I like to print? What would I like to, yeah, what would I shoot? What would be my choices? And I think that's what I was drawn to. But yeah, just the sheer.
That's very fair. For anyone who exactly, and for anyone who follows your personal photography Instagram pages, they'll know that this isn't just, you know, a heartless marketeer talking about, like, you do live and breathe the black and white aesthetic very much.
Yeah, my personal Instagram. I mean, like I say, I'm not a professional photographer, but it is. I shoot my kids. I shoot days out and places we go. And I am drawn to texture, to quirky images, to contrast between black and white. So, and I think that you see that as you come through. And all of my black and whites on films, no. So
have you? Is it in then your life goals is to buy an old vintage car and then plant an oak sapling?
Plant a tree underneath it and let it grow through.
Wait 20 years and then be like, now is my moment.
Yeah, I just think vintage cars especially, they just photograph so well, especially in black and white when you have that chrome and they're just so shiny and nice.
And
the texture with like trees, leaves, foliage, even some architecture, you can get some fantastic texture and brickwork and things like that. Yeah.
And also like the other thing that I really feel, having looked through this, is it reinforces the range that black and white is not one look. You know, one emulsion is, and it's incredible. I love spending time with experts. So you being able to look at something and spot it's XP2 or spot that it's the plus range is just goes to show this is not a manufacturer marketing thing. The real life, your photography can look different with different emulsions, and that's the beauty of
so differently. And even if you took it to the next level, if you shoot an emulsion regularly, your developer makes such a difference. How you develop it, you know, you can shoot at box, you can pull it, you can push it when you develop. There's so much you can do with it, and some of the changes are really subtle, but others they can be quite dramatic.
Yeah, I had this chat with John Myded, who runs the I've just had a mind blank. What's the app with all the developer times on?
Oh, the Massive Dev Chart.
Massive Dev Chart. There we go. Sorry, John. And he said the same thing. I asked him, like, what's his favourite film? And he was like, that question doesn't make sense. You need to ask me favourite film and developer.
Yeah, or favourite films for a certain...
I think he's more pretentious than he was. He's lovely.
Because I think depending on where you're shooting, what your light conditions are, you're not going to load up the same film for every eventuality. So
and that's
going over now.
That's why you need an advent calendar with a range of films.
Yeah, one film for all eventualities in there, isn't it?
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I will leave you to the rest of your day. I'll leave you to get back into the systems fun that I'm sure you guys are having in the office.
Can't wait.
It is a pleasure to talk to you. If anyone, so Michelle is the person behind so much of what Ilford do on social media and on the website. So please do reach out and say hi, despite the fact that you have to manage hundreds of thousands of followers. I've always see you commenting and involving and giving people grief on Twitter, which is wonderful to watch.
I think we have to, don't we? And we love it as well. And it's not just, I'm not just saying this, when people share their images with us, it's so good to see what people are doing. And it puts people on our radars as well. And like we spoke to you about the pop-up Darkroom, and you know, if we know we've got new products in development, we go to social to look at people to find what do we like that people are doing, who can we speak to test, who can we, you know, are the friendlies on there that we know of that are using certain products and might be interested in this. So yeah, please engage with us.
And so for people who either are starting up or maybe just being in love with Ilford films, so is the best thing to tag you or use a hashtag or submit?
Yeah, definitely. So we're the same tag. We're at Ilford Photo on Insta, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. But then we use the same tags, and they're more popular, obviously, on Twitter and Instagram. So our tags are really straightforward. The hashtag Ilford, then HP5, hashtag Ilford FP4, or hashtag Kentmere 100, Kentmere 400, and then the papers are the same again. Ilford MGRC, Ilford MGF. So and it's those tags that I look for each week when I'm looking for images to reshare or repost on our Instagram. So yeah, by tagging us and by, you know, means we can be nosy and see what you're doing.
Well, this is brilliant. And again, this is what I think makes, in particular, the Analogue community so lovely, is you've got these massive brands, and genuinely, Michelle is the human behind all of these. And I know for a fact, yeah, when you see images you like, you share them, and it's not because you have a corporate brand that you're trying to, it's literally, this is wonderful film photography. Let's elevate that photographer and that photo. Perfect. Well, I think I'll leave it there. So I'll pop the handles for all of the Ilford stuff and your website as well in the thing below, so people can get involved. I hope everyone's enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the products coming up, and huge congratulations once more to all the winners and to the special mentions.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
Log off and speak soon.
Speak to you soon. Bye.